When I was 6 was my first entrepreneurial venture. I learned that I could draw. My older brother, 3 years older than me, he draws. He drew Bart Simpson, and so I followed suit, and I realized I had the same skill set that he did. And then he drew the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I followed suit, and I found out I had the same skill set that he had. So I took legal rule paper and I drew out all 4 of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles individually, and I folded the edges, made framing, and I went to school and I sold them for $0.25. And that was my first entrepreneurial venture. So I've always had entrepreneurship in me, but my traditional training is in graphic design. I went from graphic design to web design to user experience design. So that's where I really got into architecting products. And that is a big part of my passion, is to be able to see a thing in my mind, to understand the experience that should be created in order to get people to the optimum action. So if you want somebody to press the purchase button, there's an action that needs to be done. Back in 2014, I remember, so my wife and I, we were in the first year of our marriage, no kids yet, and things are very easy to just simply say, hey babe, I want to go and do this, and she's like, that's fine, I'll go and hang out with my girls. So I tell her I want to go and play basketball, so I immediately go on to Facebook and look up if anybody is talking about playing basketball. And I see this post and I'm excited, so I'm like, okay, cool, great, they're playing. So I go ahead and start getting ready. And so I go back on to get the address as I'm getting ready to leave the house. And I finally noticed the timestamp, and it was from the day before. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. There's gotta be a better way to be able to find out if somebody is playing pickup basketball right now. At that time, I was running a marketing agency, believe it or not. And so to already have an entrepreneurial venture at that time, my focus was not on building another business. It was just that my mind had been programmed to see problems and to immediately start thinking of solutions. So that's exactly what happened. I brought the idea to my wife and I said, this is how I think I can solve our problems, because she's a basketball player as well. And she looked at me and she said words that when we get our first office are gonna be etched on the wall. She said, you better do this. The first thing that we did was to build a growth engine inside of the app that would help us to be able to spend less on marketing dollars. One of the first things that our competitors and anyone who sees our business thinks that we ought to do is get influencers. Get influencers, post about your app and all this other stuff. And that's great. And you'll see a bump. When you look over the year and you look at your growth chart, you'll see a bump here and you'll see a bump there, but that's not sustainable. So one of the things that we did, another hard thing that took some time and some technology, was to build inside of the app technology that would require, that would actually piggyback off of the user's daily habits. By the end of our first full year, we expect to grow to 150,000 users. And then year 2, we expect to hit that exponential growth, because it all comes down to virality, right? And when we say virality, you normally think of these YouTube kitten videos, right? But essentially, it's thinking about it from the standpoint of usage. So in order for me to get the best usage out of this app, I need more people to be on this app. I need my friends to be on this app. So then first I have to define, is this app worth it? Is this app shareable? And so if we're doing everything that we can to make the app shareable, then virality is what automatically comes next. Because basketball is a team sport, it requires that. So they do the footwork for us, as long as we keep them in mind with how we build the platform.
So sounds like basketball is a passion, but it sounds like really starting things is your passion.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to say it. Man, I wish I had you to synthesize and say that for me about 15 years ago. Because it's, when you find out the thing that you do best, it's better to delegate the other things that you don't do best. So execution can sometimes get in the way of that. What's the best way that I can put it? But it's like a bloom and a blossom, like right at the beginning of spring, just that beauty. When you create something and that's what you were created to do as a visionary, is to create things and start things, then everything else pales in comparison. Well,
I'll step on the court with you, but you got to step in the batting cage with me.
Oh, I'm absolutely, I'm open to that. We'll have to get that on film. I love to do that with you.
All right. Jeremy, I appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Thank you. This was awesome.